For everyone, Khathutshelo has entered the room. We are about to begin, so please have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to the Honorable Dr. Unang Aslison as a Dean of Vocational Prodi, and to the Honorable Dr. Khathutshelo Khashane as a lecturer in Department of Human Resource Management and Labor Relations with the topic Human Resource Management. And a very warm welcome to the participant and student from STEKOM University. It's indeed a pleasure to have all of you in this memorable occasion. And I would like to thank God for gathering us here in a visiting lecture program regarding topic human resource management. Before we begin, please allow me to read our agenda this afternoon. First, there will be an opening speech by Dr. Unang Aslison. And second, the class will be delivered by our guest lecturer from University of Venda, South Africa, Dr. Khathutshelo Khashane. And finally, there will be a question and answer session after the presentation and continue with a brief photo session at the end. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we will now to the welcoming speech delivered by Dr. Unang Aslison. Yeah, for Dr. Unang, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Novita. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, especially good morning to Dr. Khathutshelo Khashane.
Good morning,
Nice
sir.
to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Unang Aslison. I am a lecturer too from a vocational program from STEKOM University. I would like to express our gratitude to God Almighty because on His blessing and mercy that we can gather in this special forum. Also would like to welcome and thanks to Dr. Khathutshelo Khashane. I'm sorry if I wrong for speaking. For being speaker in this general lecture. International recognition will help the Faculty of Business of STEKOM University to achieve a goal of becoming a world-class rich at this university by enhancing its academic reputation. It can be realized by inviting foreign lecturers from University of Venda to collaborate with our institution. The visiting lecture of professor is a program that our faculty can really on to improve our quality and quantity in academic field, especially research, teaching, and innovation. That number of foreign lecturers at STEKOM University can be increasing when conducting programs, inviting for the practice as guest lecturer, examining the spectral supervisor, and by promoting teaching staff or researchers out and the potential for developing cooperation in the field of teaching and collaboration through these activities, our institution can improve its reputation through the visiting lecture program. Thank you very much for finding time and joining today's lecture. Our topic today is human resource management. It is a very interesting topic because as we know that managing human resource is owned by a company has always been a challenge for anyone who owns a company. Not just upgrading like hardware and raw materials, the human element needs to be managed flexibly, uniquely, but still with a clear target reference. And human resource management stepped in and took on this role. Of course, in this event, we will discuss all kind of human resource management, starting from its understanding, general functions, objectivities, to the benefits of this activity in the company. I hope through this visiting lecture program, we can get more information about human resource management. The last word, I would like to extend my appreciation to the International Affairs Organization of STEKOM University for making this visiting lecture. Okay, I think what I say is enough. I give back the time to Ms. Novita. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Dr. Unang Adlison. And we will go to the next session, this time for presentation by Dr. Khathutshelo Khashane. Yeah, for Doctor, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Thank you. Today, I decided that we are going to talk about human resource management. But human resource management is a big topic which has got a lot of information under it. So I decided to go to the small topic of individual diversity in the workplace. I decided to take individual diversity in the workplace just because South Africa is a diverse country. So in a workplace or in a classroom, you will find diverse students, you will find diverse employees in the organizations. So the topic of today under human resource management will be the individual diversity in the workplace. Now, the aim of the topic is to create an appreciation of diversity in the workplace. Attention is given to social perceptions, is given to attributions and also the errors in attributions. The personality also and the identity, the mental diversity, emotional intelligence and attitudes. So what I'm going to do, we are going to explore the ways in which we perceive other people and also their behavior, along with the errors associated with social perceptions and the implications of managers. In this topic of diversity, I'm going to concentrate mostly in the social perceptions that we have. And also I will deal with the attributions, and I will also deal with the personality and identity. Just because of time, I won't talk much about mental diversity and emotional intelligence, but I will go deep into social perceptions, the attributions, and also the personality and identity. So we then consider personality and cognitive differences to illustrate the uniqueness of people. People are not the same. They have different characteristics, they have different personalities. So focusing on aspects such as the determinants of self-image. If you remember the Big 5 personality model. We will just talk a little bit about it and how organizations make use of personality tests. Emotional intelligence, along with various components thereof, they will help us to understand and manage our own emotions and the response appropriately to others. Lastly, we consider attitudes and how people strive to create congruence between their attitudes and their behavior. Now, there are some concepts that we have to go through so that we can understand our lecture today. The concept like conscientiousness, That is a personality trait reflecting a person's preference of doing things thoroughly. When we talk about diversity, we're talking about the differences in each individual. So because individuals are different, we will touch up identity theory, which is an explanation of the relationship between how a person or how a group perceive themselves and their physical state. And we will have the internal and external attributions. Internal attributions, they make the individual responsible for their behavior outcomes, while the external, those are the factors outside the individual responsibility for behavioral outcomes. The perceptual errors, these are the perceptions we have for other people. Sometimes when looking at a person for the first time, we have a perception about the person, which are based on incorrect and incomplete information and expectations. So emotional intelligence, that is the ability to understand and to regulate one's own emotions and to identify and respond to the emotions of others to enhance the goal attainment, also the satisfaction and interpersonal relationship. When we are talking about the self-fulfilling prophecy, this is something which can occur by saying, believing it will occur, or it will come true. It's like a dreaming of something, or making something that it will come true. That is self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-image, a person's mental picture of themselves. And we have xenophobia, that is the fear of other people, the fear of a group that are perceived to be foreign or different. Now, our introduction, human capital or resources are an organizational biggest asset. For an organization to prosper, for an organization to be able to perform or to function well, it must invest in human capital. That is the biggest asset of the organization. So organization has to invest in their human capital or employees. Every employee is unique in the organizations, and each person has the potential to make a valuable contribution to the success of the organization. However, even that, if everyone we are saying that is unique, even though we are saying that everybody can have a valuable contribution, it will also depend on the management, whether the management can see or can acknowledge the similarities and differences in their employees. It will depend on the management or the manager if they're going to develop their employees. It will depend from the management if they will appreciate and utilize the skills that the employees are coming with. So yes, we are unique, we are different, we have different potentials, we have different skills, but the management must, however, acknowledge, appreciate, and develop those skills. So managers need to develop accurate perceptions of people and make their diversity work to the benefits of the organization or of the company. Now, the first item that we are going to talk about is social perception. I said we will talk social perception, attributions, and personality and identity. Now, let's start with the social perceptions. We are talking about the mental or cognitive processes through which the individual organize, they can interpret or they can understand the sensory impression from their environment where they are in. For example, when our ears hear a sound, it is merely sensation. But when we pay attention to it, interpret it, or put into context, it becomes perceptions. So social personal perceptions is complex for three reasons. It's human qualities such as intelligence, the attitudes, the feelings, which are not directly observable. People act purposefully, and we therefore try to identify their motives and their intentions. Also, people have the ability to give a false impression of themselves, which causes us to make incorrect observations about them. And that is social perceptions. Now, the complexity of the process is increased because perception is influenced by a person's culture. The culture plays an important part in this process of perceptions, and the meaning he or she gives to verbal and non-verbal communications. So we also tend to be very selective about information that we use to create impressions and also to develop attributions of others. Now, the impression formation is the process by which we form impression of people, and we also act on these impressions. When we try to explain why people act in a certain way, we are making an attributions of those people. So the impressions and attributions we make, they are based on our expectations. They are based on our previous experiences that we had with those people, and also the way they group certain characteristics together to make assumptions about them, which is the cognitive processes. Now, there are a lot of examples of social perceptual errors that we often make. A person can do a lot of error when coming to social perceptions. We're going to discuss some of these examples, like stereotyping is the tendency to attribute certain characteristics to a group and then to assume that every member belonging to that group share those characteristics. And you can find that the person is in that group, but he doesn't share the characteristics of the group. So that is stereotypes. It can be based on race, it can be based on gender, it can be based on occupation, nationality, and also age. For an example, if I give you an example, young people are irresponsible. That is a statement. I can just say, yeah, all young people are irresponsible. Now, the stereotype there is about the age. That means I'm saying all young people are irresponsible. And it's a perception. For another example, accountants are only interested in money, which is not true. Some of them, yes, they are accountants, but you can find that some of them, they are not interested in money. Those are some of the examples of stereotyping. The primacy effect, this is the first impression, whether it's good or bad, it tends to override the subsequent encounters. If any employees makes a significant blunder on the first day of employment, then his or her colleagues may, regardless of subsequent successes, they will remember it and hold it against that employees, that blunder that he or she did on the first day. Now, the recency effect, after a lapse in time, the most recent impression tend to stand out in our minds. In this case, the last impression has a dominant effect, not the first one, but the last one. The halo effect, the tendency to base our impression on a single outstanding characteristics and to assume that the presence of these characteristics implies the presence of associating characteristics. For example, the job applicant is very neat and is presentable, and we therefore assume that the person who applied, he or she is very much organized. We can even assume that that person is educated, that person is punctual, is disciplined. The opposite of the halo effect is the devil's horn effect, where one negative characteristics also overrides all other characteristics that the person has. Now, when we look at the projections, this is the tendency to project our own characteristics into other people's characteristics. For an example, if I can give example, is that you do not agree with suggested organizational changes and assume that everything or everyone else feels the same way. that is you are projecting, you do not agree with suggested organizational changes. The contract effect is the tendency to compare people. For example, in comparison with a very poor performer, an average performer might be perceived as outstanding. And there is this selective perceptions that most of the people always do. We are very selective about what we perceive in others. For example, a person with a technical flair may judge others on the basis of how technicality oriented they are. So those are the selective perceptions. We also have schema. This is an image where we have in our minds regarding of how other people are or how other people should act. We imagine in our minds about with that perception. So this person, because of he looks like this, he must act like this. For example, we might expect a computer programmer to be introverted and a workaholic. But when we encounter one who does not meet this criteria, so our schema is challenged. So we then either adjust it or consider the person to be an exceptional case. Now, the steps to take to assess and also to eliminate the stereotypes perceptions. We have to respect and appreciate others' differences. We are not the same. Everybody is unique. Everybody has got his own personality. Everybody has got his own characteristics. So let's respect and appreciate others' differences. And if managers can do this, if managers can respect each and every one with their differences, the organization can go well. We must consider what you have common with other people. So what you have, you can share with other people. Sometimes it's not common because the other people don't have those characteristics, but we must be able to respect it. We must also avoid making assumptions or creating labels. Don't create a label to someone just because maybe of a mistake that a person did, or just because of the perceptions that you think of that person. Develop empathy for others. That will make the organization to have harmony. We can work together in harmony. Educate yourself about different cultures and groups. And this is very much important. If the manager cannot educate herself about different cultures in the organizations or different groups in the organizations, then we are going to have a problem in organizations. As managers, especially the management of the organization or the company, they have to know different cultures. People are not the same. With different cultures, you come with different characteristics. With different cultures, you come with different personality, because how you grew up or how you nurtured it will be different from the others. Now, the implication for managers, there is a theory, the X and Y leadership theory, the one for McGregor. If you can see that theory Y and theory X is different. The theory Y leaders, they perceive employees as resourceful. They also create opportunities for them to reach their full potential. But what theory X leaders do, they perceive employees in negative light, and they also lead to poor performance. So I think we can learn something from this X and Y leadership theory. Now, the implication for managers when it's continuing is saying that this phenomenon in which one person has an inaccurate perception of a second person and the resulting expectation, it causes the second to have in ways consistent with the original perception, is called self-confirming or self-fulfilling prophecy. The emphasis is placed on diversity in the workplace. It challenges managers to perceive people as unique individuals, and it also stays away from stereotyping and other perceptual errors that could incapacitate people. So diversity education and training can improve the manager's awareness of existing perceptual errors. And it can help them, can help the management to focus on relevant job-related information rather than on a personal differences, which is irrelevant to the situation at workplace. Now, the second topic, which is attributions. We did touch a little bit about attributions there when we were talking about social perceptions. Attributions is the conclusions that the people draw about the causes of events, also others' behavior and their own behavior. Attributions are linked to self-perceptions or how we link success and failure. So people interpreted their environment in such a way as to maintain a positive image, or a person's perception or attributions for successes or failure will determine the amount of effort that person will put in future. So those are the attributions. The attribution theory, according to Heidegger theory, the reason people give to explain success or failure can be analyzed in terms of three characteristics. It's either the internal and external factors, either within us or in the context or in the environment. It will make a person a success or failure. The stable or unstable causes, which are happening also, and also controllable and also the uncontrollable causes. Those are some of the attribution theories. Now, the theory that people give reasons to success or failure, it based on three characteristics. The first one, which is the internal and external attributions. When we talk about the internal attribution, we are talking about myself, my personal efforts. I'm talking about the ability, my ability that I have. I'm talking about my intelligence. But when we go to the external, we are talking about, am I luck? Whatever happened, did it happen because of luck? We are talking about the complexity of the task that they've given me. So those are one of the characteristics, the internal and external attributions. So behavior is attributed either by something within us or something in context or in situations. The behavior of a person is attributed either by something within us or something in context or in situations. For example, a person can be hardworking. A hardworking person, that is the internal attributions. That person work hard to get the results. But you can say, no, that person is favored. There is favoritism in that person. So, or that person is because of luck. He or she got in that position just because of luck. Those are some of the attributions that we can make. So your attributions, you will make you influence your behavior, and it will also influence your attitudes towards other people or that person. Attributions, explanations make two assumptions. Firstly, that people interpret the environment in such a way as to maintain a positive image. Wherever you are, that environment, you can interpret it or you can maintain it to have a positive image. Then the second one assumption is that a person's own perceptions or attributions for success or failure will determine the amount of effort the person will expend on that activity in the failure. If you have given the task and you fail or you succeed, it's your own perceptions or how much effort did you put to do that, to achieve that activity that you were given. Now, there's three factors that determine whether to make internal or external attributions. The first one is distinctiveness. Do we identify the behavior as a distinct part of the person's personality or normal behavior, or is it exceptional? Exceptional behaviors are mostly attributed to situational factors. That means they are external. Also, if we look at at consensus, is one of the determinants of internal or external, but consensus mostly is find that is an external factor. Do all people react or behave in that way? If the answer is yes, then the behavior shows consensus. Consistency, which is the third one. Has the person acted or behaved in the way over the long time, or is just doing it now? The more consistent, the more we attribute to internal factors. Now, the stable and unstable causes. In addition to external in addition to internal and external attribution, people also make judgments based on the stability of factors that influence failure or success. People who attribute their success to internal factors could attribute it to either ability, which is a stable factor, or an effort, which is an unstable factor. And also people who attribute success to external causes could attribute it to a low task difficulty, which is a stable factor, or a lack as an unstable factor. So this is one of the internal external dimension, stability dimension. If I say I forgot the answers, is it unstable cause, which is the internal cause? But if I say I'm stupid, that is the stable cause, which is also internal. I'm admitting myself. But if I say there was too much noise in the room, now I'm blaming the environment, I'm blaming the situation. It's an external cause. The test was unreasonable difficult. I'm also, because I failed, I didn't achieve. I'm blaming the external cause. So how controllable and uncontrollable situations? Success or failure can be controllable or uncontrollable causes or factors. Controllable factors, these are the factors that people believe. They believe that I can control this, I can change this. The people, they are determined to control, to change and to make it success. But when it comes to uncontrollable factors, people believe they cannot change them. There is the environment, there is nothing I can do. So it's some of the attributions that people make. There are errors also in attributions, as we did talk about the errors in social perceptions. Also in attributions, there are errors which a human being can make. The fundamental attributions error. This is the tendency of overestimating the presence of internal factors and also underestimating the presence of the external ones. For example, the finance minister, he can be successful or he can be a failure. So sometimes we have a tendency of overestimate the presence of internal and external factors. The defensive attribution error. This is the tendency of blaming others. You blame other people of their own misfortune so that we will feel protected from similar fates. For instance, if one's money is stolen, we want to believe is because of carelessness in order to block out possibility of the similar could happen to us. Yes, the person lose money and you don't know how that money was stolen. So it's not because of the person was careless. It can happen even to you because of the crime which is around us, the situation. There is another error which is self-serving bias. This is the attributing our successes to internal or to personal factors and our failures to external or situational factors. For an example, the class test. we can say the success is because of internal, the person is intelligent, the person worked hard for that class test. And we can also say that because he failed because of the external situation factors, maybe when he was writing the test, the classroom, it was hot, there was no aircon, or there was noise, whatever. So there are also self-serving bias. Self-handicapping, when individuals create obstacles that make good performance less likely and thereby protecting other sense of self. Attribution people make affect their motivation as well as their relationships with others. So people who generally make internal attributions about their own behavior, they experience more self-efficacy as they feel responsible for outcomes of their behavior. So we have to check our attributions. And people who generally make external attributions, they often experience feelings of helplessness, and they tend to blame others for their failures. They don't want to take the responsibility that this is their own failure. They didn't work hard. And managers should be aware. They should be aware of the attributions they make, as well as the attributions employees make about themselves and others in their company or in their organizations. Emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills, communication skills, self-control and integrity. These are the self-image or personality. This is the third item that we are going to talk about under individual diversity in the workplace. Personality or self-image. And it's contributed by our emotional intelligence. It is contributed by our interpersonal skills with other people. It also is about the communication skills that we have with other people, the self-control and the integrity, how to determine how well as a person applies himself or herself in a team. How do you work with others? That is where we'll get your self-image or personality. Now, what are the determinants of personality? It can be heredity. It can be inborn, and it can be shaped by the context where you grew up. You took it from your parents, and it can be environment. They can nurture it in the environment that you grow up with, the culture, your family, the socio-economic conditions, and also the life experiences. They can determine your personality that you have. Even the situations can be part of the determinants of the personality. I did say that we will just to show the big 5 personality model that everybody knows about it, the extraversions, the agreeableness, conscientiousness, the emotional stability, and the openness to experience. When we say that the person is extraversion, how comfortable does the person feel in relationships? Is it outgoing? Is it assertive? Is it talkative, interactive? When we say that a person is agreeableness, to what extent does the person act in accordance with others? Does he cooperate? Does she good-natured? Is it trusting? Is it warm? Is it cold? Conscientiousness, also how reliable and careful is the person? Is the person responsible? Is he organized? What about persistence? What about the achievements? Is it oriented? The emotional stability is how tough is the person under stressful situation. Are you relaxed? Are you secured? What about your confidence? Are you controlled? And also the openness to experience. To what extent does the person look for new experiences? The imaginative, the inquisitive, the broad-minded, the intellectual. So the personalities, Other aspects of personalities that are important in the workplace is self-esteem. How self-esteem are you? How do you feel? The locus of control, the internal and the external locus of control of yourself, the goal orientation, learning goals orientation, performance goal orientations. Those are the personalities aspects. Personality also influences an employee's behavior and performance in the workplace. Like if you are testing, personality testing is used in the selection process to determine whether you match between an applicant's characteristics or also the competencies that you have and the requirement of the positions. They can do the personality testing and to check if you are the correct or the employee that they want in the organization. Now we have guidelines to enhance the validity and usefulness of personality tests in the workplace. You must not solely rely on personal tests when making employment or in promoting or training decisions. Consider previous work experience and achievement and other attributes that can be taken into consideration before you make a decision. Don't use personality test alone. Use the services as a registered license and reputable testing agents. Yes, the personality test, they are licensed, they are reputable, they are valid, they are reliable. Also insist on scientifically complete personality tests. And do not submit to the myth that only one personality type fits a specific position. No. You have to look at other attributes. So managers who have knowledge and an appreciation of personality differences will not try to change employees who are different from them, but they will understand these differences and they will utilize them in situationally appropriate ways to make the organization work, to make the company work. Now, the self and social identity. If a person's sense of who they are or their self-image is linked to the group membership and also the interpersonal interaction, as well as how a person experiences this social interaction. For example, some employees may define themselves as a trade unionist. So if they desire that identity in opposition to being part of management, so in this way, they see the trade unions as a superior affiliation. So they will adapt their productivity in line with that which is expected by the union, even if it is not in the self-interest. Now, during the processes of self-identity formation, the in-group is also defined most positively than the out-group in order to raise one's self-image. So the social system for the company where a person works influences identity and consequently self-image and self-esteem. So through the processes of social categorizations, the chances of prejudice towards the out-group may emerge, and also the conflict between the in and the out group, it can increase. Now, in conclusions, I didn't go to mental diversity and emotional intelligence in detail, but to conclude what we were talking about, incorrect attributes and perceptions of people can harm interpersonal relationship in an organization. Managers need to acknowledge, they need to accept and make use of diversity in the workplace. Emotional intelligence is also a crucial aspect of performance. The successful relationship and effective customer relationship is because of the emotional intelligence. So a company or an organization will have a competitive advantage if its managers understand the behavior of employees, if they can understand the diversity of the employees that they have, and they can motivate them to reach their full potential. Thank you for your time and your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Khathutshelo.
You can say Khathu is better, Khathu.
Khathu. Okay, Dr.
Yes.
Khathu. Yeah, maybe
Yes.
for untuk semua peserta, jika ada yang ingin bertanya bisa raise hand atau menulis di kolom chat. Yeah, I will read first question. This is audience in just a minute. I will reading first question. This is question from audience in a YouTube. First question, this is from Muhammad Rahma. What are the efforts to improve the quality of human resource so that they are not less competitive with other countries?
I beg yours, can you repeat the question?
What are the efforts to improve the quality of human resource so that they are not less competitive with other countries?
Okay, with the topic that I was talking about diversity, the effort that can improve the quality of human resource when compared to other countries. People have to acknowledge the diversity in the organizations, and mostly if you have that quality, you can go and work everywhere, even overseas, because you can go to any countries and you can be able to be with other people because you accept the diversity of other people. And these are the quality that the management, mostly management, even the employees must have when they are in the human resource, especially in the HR department. You have to acknowledge that people are not the same. You have to acknowledge that people have got different characteristics and personality. So if you go to other countries or you have employees from other countries, you won't have any problem because you will be aware of the diversity of their cultures, diversity of the uniqueness of a person, that everyone is unique and different. So some of the efforts that the HR must do to improve their quality in their HR department.
Okay. Okay, thank you for answering. And then the second question, we have question from Maya Utami. This is audience from YouTube. Why are human resources the most important asset that an organization or company should have?
Repeat it.
Why are
I beg you.
pardon?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Why are human resources the most important assets that an organization or company should have?
The most important assets of HR is human capital. It's employees. Those are the assets or the biggest asset of the organizations. HR must be able to nurture the human capital. They must nurture their employees. They must develop them. They must appreciate what they are getting from the employees. An organization cannot, we are coming to the fourth industrial revolutions, where we are saying that technology is taking part in everything that we are doing. But human capital is still a big asset. That technology which is coming, it needs a human capital. It needs an employee to manage that technology. So human capital is the most important asset, which if HR is not taking care of, it loses. If there is a lot of turnover in the organizations, they have to start questioning themselves. because they are losing some of the people, some of organization, they lose the experience and skilled employees just because they are not taking care of those employees. Assets of the organization, the most or first important asset of the organizations is human capital,
Oh,
and we have to.
okay, okay. Yeah, thank you for explain. And then I have a question. Sometimes there is a work envi I'm sorry. Sometimes there is a work environment where human resources allow. There is one person who has good knowledge about current competency. I'm sorry. How can that person survive in his environment? Because he has to finish the job by the agreed deadline. Ma'am, thank you.
If we have somebody who is not competent in an organization, that is your question, eh? We
Yes.
have an employee who is not competent in the organizations. What HR or can do to that person? I think we as HR we have to do the performance management.
Mm-hmm.
When you do performance management, that is where you are going to see that the person is performing or is underperforming. And when you see that the person is not competent, you will see, that means you will assess what makes that person not to be competency. What is the skills that is shorting? What is it that, how can you develop that person to be competent? And sometimes if you try even train and develop the person, you find that he's still incompetent to the job that he is doing. Sometimes it's better even also to take him and give him another task, maybe to train him to another task. Maybe you find that that person will be competent in other tasks. But the first thing is that when we do performance management, that is where you can find that this person is underperforming, and what can you do? HR has got a development sections which train, which take people to training and workshops, so that that person can be in par with the skills that is needed in the job or in the task that is supposed to do.
Oh, okay, okay. I get it, ma'am. Thank you so much for explain. And then we have a question in the Zoom chat. This is from Mr. Amin Tohari. What are what are the most effective communication strategy for increasing voter turnout among under 30 second? 30
The communication skills,
strategy.
communication strategy.
Yeah.
The communication strategy, the employees must have somebody who's superior to, who report to. So we must not do a top-down communications. Sometimes you have to follow the communication channel. The person who knows the employees is the person who works direct to them, who report to them, their supervisor. For instance, in the university, we are under the HOD. The HOD knows each and every one of us in the department. So if the communication must be between me and the head of the department. The head of the department must be a person who will be able to have an open communication, so that when the other person has got a problem, we must be able to reach and to talk to that person. So those are some of the strategies of communication. Let's follow the communication channel. Talk to your HOD. If the HOD is not doing anything, then go to the dean. If the executive dean is not doing anything, you can go further to the DVC, teaching and learning, or whoever. But there is a communication strategy that every organization has, how to talk, how to deal with your problems. And one thing that is most important when it comes to diversity, individual diversity, there are some people who cannot express themselves. It's difficult to express themselves, but it will depend on the manager. How do you communicate with your your subordinate, and how can you develop your relationship, your communication relationship with your subordinates? And for the organization to be successful is because of communication. If there's no communication between the two, you find that I don't know what they're expecting from me, and if they don't put it in paper or telling me that they are also expecting this from me, you'll find that I won't know.
Okay. I thank you so much for explain. And then we have a question from Mr. Adi Nugroho. According to MC Gregor theory, there are two theory X and Y, and usually manager do mixture of theory X and theory Y. Can you explain when managers so prefer more on theory X than theory Y for their subordinates and vice versa? Thank you.
When coming to theory X and Y, as I said, theory X, these are the managers who are really willing to help the management, to help the employees. They are there for employees. They want to develop the employees. Their mandate is to motivate the employees so that they can have a performance, so that they can be competent. But when it comes to theory Y, or managers who use theory Y, those are the managers who are just there in the office, whether what is happening in the employees, they don't mind, they don't care. They don't motivate their employees to work hard. Sometimes motivation is very much important when it comes to achievements or to competency in an organization. In some of the things, even if you achieve, an employee achieves something in an organization, if your boss can come and just have a pat, in your shoulder and said, well done, you did good, that motivates an employee to work harder. Besides even just to say it or to pat, if you have also a monetary or something to motivate the employees. So those are the ex management. They are willing to help and motivate their employees. And I wish in all organizations that managers cannot be just managers, they can be leaders, because there is a difference between a manager and a leader. I wish people can be leaders when they are when they are managing the organizations, because a leader will try by all means to motivate, to go to hold the employees who is not competent, for the sake that one day that person will be competent. But the manager will be there not for the employee, but just for the profit of the organization.
Okay, thank you for the detail explain. And then we have a last question from audience in YouTube. How important is human resource planning in a growing or developing company? Thank you. Develop company. Thank you.
Human resources is important in the growing company, in the company which is growing. Remember, organization cannot be there if there is no HRM. HRM is the one who will go and look for competent employees. HRM is there to support the employees who are already in the organization. HRM is there to compensate the employees who are in the organizations. The HRM is there to look at the wellness of the employees in the organizations. So for the organization or the company to grow, HRM is the one which plays an important part in the organizations. That's why we said HRM must learn about diversity of people, and if they know about the diversity in their workplace, you can find that the company can grow, it can succeed, just because of the wellness that they have, that they will look after their employees. They can motivate, they can develop, they can train, they can give monetary, the salaries is from there. So HRM is a department which makes the success of the company.
Okay, thank you so much for your explain. I guess no one else asking. I think we don't have no more question again. Yeah, may we go to the next session is a time for take a pictures, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oke, ya just a moment please untuk bagi para semua peserta mungkin bisa dibantu untuk menyalakan kameranya karena akan melakukan sesi foto. Terima kasih. Yeah, for all participants, you can turn on your camera because we will take a picture for documentation. Thank you. Ya, bagi para peserta, saya mulai dari 1, 2, 3. We will start in 1, 2, and 3. Ya, one more time, 1 kali lagi. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for all participants and join in this event. Thank you so much for Dr. Katu for sharing your presentation. I hope this presentation is a very beneficial knowledge for us. Yeah. Before I close this event, you will say something before, ma'am?
Thank you very much for the opportunity that you gave me. It's a learning process, but I hope that you enjoyed my presentation, and I'm looking forward to more in future. I'm looking forward for you also to have a collaboration, to have a lecture, a presentation with us and our students. And I think in future we can go far where we can say that we can visit also your university in person, and also you can also visit our university in person. I will appreciate that. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's an honor to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope we can meet again in an offline collaboration and online collaboration also, ma'am. Yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining in this event. I hope we can meet again in other event in the future. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you, Doctor.
Udah Mbak